Thank you very much. This is a very, very critical and dangerous period for Iran's nuclear weapons program. Their strategy is derived accordingly to take maximum advantage of the effects of the negotiations, which the media in the United States basically do not understand. They ask, are we going to have a positive result from the negotiations? They don't ask whether that means the Iranian nuclear weapons program will actually end. In the big picture, they are legitimizing themselves, being able to engage in political negotiations with the United States, the other permanent members of the Security Council, as an equal, rather than as the world's central banker for international terrorism and a nuclear proliferator of the first order. They've already demonstrated the ability to take the fact of the negotiations and try to create political linkages elsewhere in the region, working to the regime's advantage. And the clearest example there, of course, is the struggle against ISIS, the Islamic State, where what is in the interest of the regime in Iran looks superficially to be the same as the interest of the United States, the elimination of ISIS, but where it's much more complex in the region, and where what we're doing now, which is aiding the government in Baghdad, is simply strengthening Iran's hand in what's left of that country. We've seen the President of the United States write the Ayatollah Khamenei 4 letters. I'm not aware of any similar precedent in American history of chasing after a terrorist leader, somebody who has repeated under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and what it demonstrates is desperation for a deal. I think the mullahs are acute readers of human psychology. They see exactly what motivates the Obama administration, and they're taking full advantage of it. Iran is not entitled to a peaceful nuclear program. It's in violation of the Non-Proliferation Treaty every day that it attempts to get nuclear weapons. I wouldn't trust the regime in Tehran with a spare electron, let alone the capability to enrich uranium or reprocess plutonium. We know what it looks like when a government decides really to give up nuclear weapons. Muammar Gaddafi did that in the wake of the overthrow of Saddam Hussein. He made a strategic decision to give up Libya's nuclear weapons program, and we and the British, went into Libya, boxed it up, and moved it to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where it now resides. That's how you eliminate a nuclear weapons program. That's not anything related to the negotiations that have been going on for the past year and a half and will continue now perhaps until June. And I might say this is where the Iranian opposition, the MEK president in this room, has done such an important task for the free world over the years. I first heard of the MEK in that early period, over 10 years ago, 2002, 2003, when it was holding press conferences revealing the extent of the mullah's nuclear weapons program. Now, this was information we knew on a classified basis but couldn't talk about. So I was delighted to hear somebody say in public, this is a serious problem, people of the United States and people of Europe. And I'm not aware of any material respect where information that the MEK has put out over the past more than 10 years has ever been incorrect. A path that the mullahs have taken over the years has been consistently to make agreements and then violate them. It's a course of cheat and then retreat when they're caught. And this is a phenomenon that we've just seen underlined again by the International Atomic Energy Agency's latest report of Iran's continued frustration of the IAEA effort to investigate the weaponization aspects of the program. We've reported, the IAEA has reported over the years, the following activities that Iran has been engaged in: the fashioning of hollow hemispheres that can be used for enriched uranium or plutonium to make what's called the pit of a nuclear weapon. The development of electronic bridgework detonators to surround that pit with high explosive and set the explosive off at the same time to crush the pit, crush the hollow sphere into a critical mass to generate the nuclear explosion. Neutron initiators to help amplify the force of the nuclear detonation, and the explosive chambers at Parchin that are designed to help simulate what happens when the high explosive is set off. None of this is the subject of these negotiations. It's almost all on uranium enrichment and plutonium reprocessing, which means that the heart of the weaponization effort is not even on the table, as best we can tell from what the negotiators have told us. This is an absolutely devastating omission, because whatever is agreed to on uranium enrichment, the weaponization work of the Revolutionary Guards Corps can continue unimpeded. Now, here's the fact. This regime has been lying for 30 straight years about this program, and they're lying today. Now, what Congress should do in response to this manifest failure of both strategy and negotiating tactics is take whatever steps it can constitutionally to prevent this deal from coming into place. The sanctions themselves have caused Iran economic pain, but they have not slowed down the nuclear weapons program. General James Clapper, the President's own Director of National Intelligence, testified to that effect in open session here on the Senate side earlier this year. But this is the moment to apply maximum pressure on Iran. With oil now below $60 a barrel worldwide, the regime is in big trouble. It's already made a mess of Iran's economy for 35 straight years. The sanctions have had their impact. This is not the point where you let the pressure up. I think ultimately we need to go beyond this. I think the only long-term answer to the threat of the regime in Tehran is to have it the declared policy of the United States to overthrow the Ayatollahs and establish a free government. This is a very unpopular regime, but you don't achieve that objective like flipping a light switch, and the danger is that the regime will acquire nuclear weapons before regime change becomes possible. And I think more members of the House and the Senate need to understand that not only would that be a terrible threat, the moment is here to try and have the United States fix its course to prevent a tragedy from happening in the next few years, and I wish you all good luck with that. Thank you very much.